Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. We appreciate everybody's attendance today and look forward to going through our agenda. So with that, we're going to start our meeting today with a invocation by Latai Topu, Commissioner Latai Topu. Tupo, sorry.
Yes.
And then we'll have a pledge of allegiance by Brian Musso.
Okay, thank you. Our Father in heaven, please bless us that we, everyone here in this room, may represent our great city of Washington well, and that we may make the right decisions to support our community and continue to watch over us. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks all for participating on that. We do want to excuse Commissioner Hanson tonight. He's homesick with his family. And Commissioner Anderson will be coming in a little late today, but he'll be here, he told me. So let's go through and hopefully you've had a chance to review the agenda tonight. And I'm looking for a motion to approve this agenda for this night.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Chairman or Commissioner Phil just mentioned
Sorry.
with the tabling of the, I believe it's item, which item number is it? Item eight
Item 8A
for training.
is deleted.
And with the deletion of item 8A and
Do we need timeout? Do we need to talk about 7A being pulled?
Well, I would do it now, but we'll also, because it was tabled, we'll want to go to that and then just state it again. But anybody who's here watching, so they don't have to stick around to that, just say that it's been pulled.
Why don't you just move to approve the agenda and we'll table each as they come up?
Yeah.
okay. This is Commissioner Bullock. I move to approve the agenda for September 1st, 2021.
Commissioner Musso, I second.
All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Let's talk about there's two items. Item 7A is concerning the Coral Canyon. That has been tabled from the August 18th. And they tabled it again, and then they decided to just delete it from the packet and come back in another time. So anybody that's in the house tonight, if you're here for that item, that will not be on our agenda. So I'm looking for a motion to delete that.
So we've approved the agenda. You've now given anybody that's
Oh.
dedicating time waiting for 7A fair notice that when we get to 7A, we're not going to handle it. When 7A comes up, we'll deal with it specifically.
Okay. All right.
Just let them leave now if they want to. They know we're going to
Okay.
drop it off.
I see everybody leaving, so that's great. Okay, thank you. Hopefully you've all had a minute to look at the minutes from July 21st. And if you can make a motion to approve those minutes.
August 21st.
This is Commissioner Musso. I make a motion that we approve the minutes from August 18th, 2021.
This is Commissioner Tupo. I second that.
All approve?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passed. Item number 3 will be declaration of abstinence and conflicts to anything that we have on our agenda tonight. Is there anybody with conflicts with the agenda this evening? like we're golden tonight, so we'll just continue on. Okay, we're gonna move to item number 4A, which is consideration and recommendation for the Washington Bench Phase 3 final plat located at approximately Arabian Way and Coral Way. Applicant is Kent Rasmussen, and we'll turn the time over to,
You might be on the wrong agenda.
I'm just doing the one you gave me. I'll do this.
Oh,
one
that's the
then.
minutes you were reading.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're okay.
Well, I'm a rookie, so let's go to 4A on this agenda. Sorry, guys. We're going to, this is for in consideration and recommendation to the city council for the red trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 1. Final plat located approximately 500 South Country Way. The applicant is Midden LLC. We'll turn the time over to Drew.
Okay, just give me a second. Steve's getting everything set up for the screen, so then I can get my arrow back here. There it is. Okay, thanks, Steve. All right, the applicant's requesting approval of the final plat for the red trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 1. This particular subdivision is proposing 41 lots and the area of coverage is 4.8 acres. The zoning at this location is the plan unit development residential. The preliminary plat was approved back on April 28th earlier this year of 2021. Staff's reviewed the requested proposal and the proposed final plat conforms to the approved amended preliminary plat. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the final plat for the red trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 1 subdivision onto the city council. That is subject again to the following findings and conditions. And they're the standard 5 conditions for a final plat. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have on Phase 1 of red trails.
Okay, thanks.
So,
Planners.
Drew,
Yes,
these are individual lots. These aren't townhomes then, correct?
correct. These are pads with single family detached homes.
Now, is this
Most of them are a 2-story. This is the ones that,
S&S
and
is
the
doing?
bigger pad, there is those ones you see that are a little bit longer and a little wider are a single story. The 3 other narrow ones are 2-story.
Okay,
So this is like that project over off the number 2 exchange. I can't, it's color something development. This is, I think, a split image of that. If I've never been over there, other people know it well. That, you know, it's a product that's already been built somewhere. These guys are just making it like it.
well, so who's developing this one? It's Midden, but I mean,
Midden.
who's doing the build out on it? Do you know? Because S&S has
Do
a
you
big
remember,
sign
is it a
out there
Sullivan or
already.
an S&S? I think it might be S&S or Sullivan. One of the 2, I think, is doing it.
Okay, I was just, because I was out there the other day and I was just surprised when I saw S&S and they were building, and that's just a product that they typically don't build.
Yeah, because
So-
Ents and S&S are out there building in this
Okay.
area. So, and I don't think it's an Ents product. I think it's S&S.
Drew, there's 2 accesses to this
Well,
in and out. Ingress,
right now there
egress.
will be one and it's right there by lots. There's another development. Let me pull it down where you can see lot 1 right here. If you can see where my little cursor is going.
Mhm.
This road, Deep Creek Drive, actually goes into another development, as you see as I'm heading that way.
Mhm.
That road's in place right there. And then going right through here is an access onto Country Way, where you see my little cursor going up and down. That's actually a roadway coming in.
Main road.
And then this is just part of one phase of a lot of homes going that are just like this. So there will be a temporary turnaround if they haven't already put the roads in. I know they're really building fast out there. So the roads might be in. I haven't been out and seen it in a while. So, but there will be either temporary turnarounds or roadways in.
Okay.
Does that help you? I hope that.
Yes, thank you.
So if there's any other comments, we look for them or we look for a motion.
This is Commissioner Musso. I make motion that we approve the final plat for Red Trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 1 subdivision located at approximately 500 South Country Way and forward this on to the city council for their approval.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'll second.
Right, we have a motion by Commissioner Musso and a second by Commissioner Bullock. Individual voting, Musso,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Topu,
Aye, Tupo.
Tupo.
Yeah.
Okay, well, come on now. I got all night to remember this.
Yes.
Okay, item
You vote,
4A.
Commissioner.
What's
You
that?
didn't get your own vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Sheil. I'm an aye. Thank you.
Phonetically.
Okay. All right. Item 4A passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 4B.
Thank you. This applicant is requesting approval of the final plat for the Red Trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 2. This particular portion of the overall development is proposing 57 lots and the area coverage is 7.12 acres. The zoning again at this location is the planned unit development residential. The preliminary plat was also approved on the same night as the other, as April 28th, 2021. The staff has reviewed the request proposal and the proposed final plat conforms to the approved preliminary plat. Staff therefore would like to recommend that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the final plat for the Red Trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 2 subdivision onto the City Council. And that's based on the findings and subject to the conditions in your report. And again, it's a standard 5 conditions for a final plat. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. This attaches right to Phase 1 on that Deep Creek Road that you asked about, Commissioner. And so you can see where it pops out again. It's just over on that first lot. It's already part of the previous development. So there will be actually be 2 roads on this once these are tied together.
Any comments from commissioners?
So Drew, okay, I can see where it ties into both the other phase. So where your legend is on that plat right there, what is that section going to be? Is that a different set of townhomes?
No, they're all gonna, the whole project looks like this.
Okay, but
Just, there'll just be another phase and a road. And then it's in a kind of a triangle
right.
shape. So, then the road that you see bends here, then comes at an angle.
Mhm.
And it follows the contour of the property that's
It's
right
all the same,
abutting
it's all
to
the same
it.
developer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd imagine there's probably 2 more phases, maybe 3 at the most.
Yeah.
If there isn't any other comments, I'm looking for a motion.
This is Commissioner Musso again. I make a motion that we approve the final plat for Red Trails at Sunrise Valley Phase 2 subdivision located approximately 300 south, 3100 east along Country Way. The applicant was Maiden LLC and recommend this onto the City Council for their approval with the findings and conditions outlined by staff.
It's Commissioner Anderson, I second.
Thank you. We have the motion by Commissioner Musso and a second by Commissioner Anderson. Individual voting, Musso,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Tupo.
Aye.
This is Shield. I'm also an aye.
Chair, can I just ask the engineer, Rick, is the name Red Trails at Sunrise Valley? Because you don't have that, but yet your application said Red Trails at Sunrise Valley. So can you get one of them right and for me before I go to city council next week?
You're just saying, put the at Sunrise Valley in there. So you're saying.
That's what the application says. You guys, again,
We're missing
your
the Sunrise
developer is the
Valley
one
part.
who's always wanted to make it Sunrise Valley. I just noticed this just said Red Trails. It doesn't matter to us, but the name, you might want to make sure because they were adamant about the Sunrise Valley part. Just check and get it corrected before tomorrow. Thanks. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that up. So.
Okay, moving forward, we'll look at item 5A, which is an applicant for amended final plat approval for the I don't know, Paseos.
Paseos.
Okay.
It's a
Paseo-
California boy in me, Paseos.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there, and it's in Sienna Hills, Phase 4. Amended and extended subdivision located approximately Grapevine Crossing and Plata Circle. And we'll turn this over to Eldon.
Thanks, Commissioner. So the reason for this amendment is to extend the rear lots numbered 106 through 115, which will utilize the areas that were previously graded as part of the original construction of this subdivision. The plat boundary will also be adjusted to accommodate the additional areas. Staff has reviewed the proposed amended and extended final plat and finds it conforms to the original PCD zoning of this development. The subdivision also remains in compliance with the subdivision ordinances of the city. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the amended and extended final plat for the Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 4 subdivision onto the city council.
You're as good as me on that name.
Based on the following original findings and subject to the following original conditions, all of which are again the 5 standards. And we're happy to answer any questions at this time.
So Eldon, are they basically just making these lots bigger? Is that what it is?
They are, yes. Drew circled where they're extending it out 10 feet.
Okay.
Originally, when they graded, they brought in more fill dirt than was needed, and they're gonna claim that with the lots.
What was that original 10 feet intended for?
It was just unirrigated common area.
Just part of the regular open space for all of Sienna Hills. I think still had it in their ownership, if I remember right. So
Unirrigated common space essentially means graded dirt that's had nothing planted in it or areas that weren't even graded. So just, native, but usually there's been some impact during development. So it's just whatever's left after they've developed it.
I noticed that a lot of these lots along Grapevine Crossing Road, that this was built up a lot. So there's like a hill of dirt. Is there going to be like a rock retaining wall, or is that going to be landscaped, or what's the plan for all of that dirt that you see off of Grapevine?
Where at exactly are you
As you
thinking of?
drive by this subdivision, it's just built up really, really high. So it looks like a hill, and it's nothing. There's some landscaping in front of it, but there's dirt. There's like a dirt hill.
Yeah, I haven't been out there to look. If any rock walls are going in, they probably would have already been built.
Mhm.
I'm thinking maybe it was just a pile up of grading.
Yeah,
Other lots.
I've seen the slope on it, and I think it's probably the correct slope without having a retain there. That's probably what their intent was.
Yeah, I know on the backside of lots 107 and 108, it does step up, and I think that grading is done.
So is it just going to remain dirt, or is it going to be landscape? Because I would think that it's going to grow a lot of weeds there.
I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna finish out.
Mark, you want to come up and address that? I'll take the pressure off of you. He should be out there a lot. This is the engineer on it. So
Mark Rains, High Point Engineering. It depends where you're talking. We have to stabilize slopes with either landscaping or reseed the natural ground. Without knowing exactly what slope you're talking about.
Commissioner, can you tell me in relationships, is it behind like lots 115 through 112, or is that the area that you might have noticed it?
I know.
Or is it
was a
behind
lo-
111?
It was along the road of Grapevine Crossing. So like the main road driving into.
That's
look
what
at the-
this road, yeah, the one right here that we're
Yeah.
seeing is
Yep.
Grapevine Crossing. Is it on this side over here?
Yeah,
Across from this
might have been an
cul-de-sac?
older, it might have been an older, so now that I.
Yeah, because
looking at
there,
this, it
when you
might have
go
been
up
an
here,
older
there's
one.
quite a bit of work still being done, right, Mark? I think
Yep.
up in this area.
Yeah,
There's a roundabout right there and
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's roundabout.
so,
okay. So that doesn't apply to here.
yeah, this I think is up on that. What's that one called up there again?
Sendera.
Well, it's Paseos or no?
Sendera's to the
Yes,
north,
Sendera.
Paseos phase 3 is to the east.
Yeah,
So
so-
is phase 2 is to the east too.
Okay, thank you.
And these were all nightly rentals. That whole area up there is nightly rentals.
They
correct?
can be. I don't know if they'll all be like Troy Belliston built his new home on 111, but it's not a vacation. He lives there full time in 111. So, but
Really?
yeah,
Okay, because I remember when we first
you
started.
were
talking
wondering about that
this-
big lot,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Mr. Belliston bought that and lives there now, sold his home, down in the fields and lives in there. He just moved in a couple months ago.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
But these others have the
Capacity.
have the
if they want
capacity to be if they want it to be.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Huge lot.
So Drew, question. So this is amended final plat. Has it already gotten final plat approval, or he's just amending it before he gets final plat? You just clarify. that.
it's already recorded, has to be.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because with all the homes on there and his,
So he's just amending what's
yeah,
already there.
if it's one that, I'll just explain for your future reference for everybody. If I have a final plat that goes to planning commission, city council, but it doesn't get recorded quite because you have 12 months to do that, it'll come back to you as a final plat revision. So that means it's not recorded. It's been approved
Okay.
by the planning commission, city council, but never recorded. Once it's recorded, it'll always be a final plat amendment.
And
That means it's recorded at the county. They're just fixing whatever they're doing to it. Sometimes it's like this, adding feet or eliminating lots or whatever the case may be. And so that's how you can always know that if it's a plat, final plat amendment, it's a recorded plat. If it's a revision, that means we've already approved it, but what they're going to want to get recorded changed from what you folks saw in your approval. And it's usually minor stuff. I never.
so I guess my question with it, and it's probably just not necessarily important, but should these conditions be here then if the final plat's already been recorded?
Well, we just leave
They
them
all
on.
refer to.
We
what-
leave them as
okay.
it's just attached or taken, but this stuff, we still want 3 of these still would apply to this 10-foot. So that's why we
Okay.
just leave them on.
Gotcha.
So. Because we do want to make sure the pins are, all that stuff's been done right. And
So
everything, so.
is Mr. Belliston then the owner of that excess land and he's deeding it over to these other lots? Is that how that works? Because if it's already finalized and been platted,
Probably the Conway.
it's actually, Sitla, and Sitla was okay with it. We talked to Sitla today. So he bought it from them.
okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yep. If there's no other comments, I'd like to entertain a motion.
It's Commissioner Anderson. I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended final plat for the Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 4 amended and extended subdivision located at approximately Grapevine Crossing and Plata Circle with the 2 findings and the attached conditions, and pass it on to city council for consideration.
Excuse me, Commissioner Schilt, this is a public hearing.
I didn't see that. Okay, thank you. We'll just kind of go back to,
It's open
Yeah.
to public hearing.
take a step back and we'll go to public comments. Is there anybody in the chambers that would like to make any comments to this? All heads are shaking. Yes, yeah, we'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Commissioner Tupou, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Does Musso, I second that.
We have a first or a motion by Commissioner Tupou and a second by Commissioner Musso. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll
Now redo the motion.
redo the motion.
All right, try two. This is Commissioner Anderson. I make a motion to approve the amended final plat for Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 4, amended and extended subdivision located at approximately Grapevine Crossing and Plata Circle with the 2 findings and 5 standard conditions, and pass it on to City Council for approval or for consideration.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Anderson, a second by Commissioner Bullock. Individual voting, Musso,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Tupou,
Aye.
Shield is an aye. Item 5A passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 5B, which is also a public hearing. Sorry about that on the last one. 5B is for consideration recommendation to City Council for the whatever that Pusos.
Paseos.
Paseos at Sienna Hills, Phase 2, Final Plat Amendment, located approximately Grapevine Crossing Road and Paseos Street. The purpose is to adjust the westerly boundary eastward to facilitate the amendment and extension of Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 4, amended and extended. This amendment only affects the unirrigated common area adjacent to said Phase 4. Applicant is Troy Belliston again. And we'll turn the time over to Eldon.
Thanks, Commissioner. So as previously stated, this coincides directly with the last one that we heard. The reason for this amendment is to adjust the westerly boundary eastwards to facilitate the amendment and extension of Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 4 amended and extended subdivision. Staff has reviewed the proposed amended and extended final plat and finds it conforms to the original PCD zoning of this development. The subdivision also remains in compliance with the subdivision ordinances of the city. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the amended and extended final plat for the Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 2 subdivision onto the City Council based on the following original findings and subject to the following conditions. And we're happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay. With that, why don't we open up the public hearing at this time? And if there's anybody in chambers that would like to make comments to that, we would appreciate your comments. And if there's nobody here, I'd like to look for a motion to close this public hearing.
As Commissioner Tupou, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
This is Commissioner Bullock. I second.
So we have a motion to close the public hearing by Commissioner Tupou and a second by Commissioner Bullock. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. If there's any comments from the commissioners, or I'm looking for a motion.
I do have a question on this. I noticed that the street is only a total of 34 feet wide. Is there any restrictions on off-street parking in this subdivision?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is no off-street parking. That's why we provide, there's double car driveways and then there's visitor parking as part of these. You don't see it on this particular page, but This one you do. So, but they're supposed to have no parking on the street. These are private streets.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Thank you.
So Drew, when they're private streets like that, is it marked? Do they mark it on the streets themselves?
they do. They're actually a blue colored nameplate. If you go drive by them, the green are the city streets. Whenever you're driving through the city, you'll start noticing it now
Now I will.
that you ask.
Yeah.
So if it has a blue colored plaque on it, it's private.
Okay,
That's how
so,
we,
but I guess, do they have signs on the street itself that say it's no parking? Do you have any idea?
no, I'm not sure on this one. I haven't been out there. So I think they're supposed to on some of them, or they're only, but again, with all the driveways on these, there shouldn't be, you're not supposed to park in front of a driveway anyway. And if most of these, the driveways are almost continuous.
I think the visitor parking is striped.
Okay. I'm just thinking like service vehicles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, do they park in the person's driveway or do they park out in front of their street? Or poor schmucks like me who, have to park in front of somebody's house, take pictures of it.
Well, I can tell you from time to time, there will be a car parked on one side of these streets. I can't guarantee that there won't, because I guarantee that there will. So, but
But
that's,
unless somebody from the subdivision chooses to enforce it, it's not enforceable.
that's what it comes down to, unfortunately. And, but it is a fire, access problems. That's why, we are concerned about to that point. But other than that, we have our enforcement of it's slim to none on those private.
Looking for a motion if there's no other comments. 5B.
Commissioner Anderson, I make a motion to approve the amended final plat for Paseos at Sienna Hills Phase 2, amended and extended subdivision located at approximately Grapevine Crossing and Plata Circle, with the 2 findings and 5 conditions, and pass it on to City Council for consideration.
It's Commissioner Tupou. I second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Anderson, a second by Commissioner Tupou. Individual voting, Musso,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Tupou.
Aye.
This is Shield. I'm also an aye. Item 5A passes unanimously. We'll pass that on to the City Council. Item 6A is, it's not a public comment or a public, right?
No, this is just
I
your
wish it was,
requested
but-
follow-up on 6
Okay.
months.
Item 6A is a conditional use permit. It's a follow-up on a conditional use permit number C-21-10. It's a daycare located at 143 South Desert Seguro Lane. Secured fencing from the corner of the house to be block wall and temporary fencing removed. And we'll turn this over to Drew for review.
Well, I hope, is an applicant here tonight? It surprises me, but they should be here, but basically I haven't gotten any complaints from the neighborhood. That's about all I would say, but I do need to point out that some of the conditions were never really completed with us. And I was just going to point to number 5. This is a condition we put on every daycare or preschool. They all have to be licensed through the state. So one of our conditions on all of them is a copy of that approved state license needs to be given to us. We have yet to receive that.
They've been operating for 6 months.
Well, I'm not sure if they've been for the full 6 months, but I would probably say, yeah, because they were eager to go.
Yeah.
Because they, it's mostly family that they're watching, of everybody, but it is a business that they're running as well. So we've never received that copy. Number 7. We never have received the drop-off pickup schedule plan. It was supposed to be turned into our department as well. So those 2 items were not, addressed I wanted them to be here because when they approved, you guys gave the approval. I remember that Mr. Jessup was claiming that he was going to be building a building in a commercial area that they were going to be moving into. And I was hoping that they would see where they're at on that. But again, nobody's here tonight. So I don't know if you just want to table it before you make any action for their own, just to give them a second chance to be here at the next meeting and tell them they need to show up, or else you could lose your conditional use permit. You know, especially if you don't feel it's important to show up. So
We also told them, that if I remember right, that he said they would have permanent fencing put up by July, instead of the chain link fence. And that was part of our approvals. We said, okay, but it needs to be up by July or
It was the 6 months. And that's what it was for.
Yeah,
We gave
so
them
it was
6
like-
months to get
yeah.
the fence up and then to come back, but they should have had these.
yeah. And we said if he didn't have it up by then, that they'd lose their approval.
yeah, so
Because he said he had the building under construction. He's like, oh, that's no problem. We can have
Right.
the fence in, et cetera.
yeah, they were just finishing all the, so I think what we'll do with them not being here and on these things, I would just recommend just again to be the, you know, generous as we can, just to table it, and then we'll make sure they,
You're
I'll
more
have
generous
Kathy
than I would be.
what's that?
You're a lot more generous than I would be.
But
But
so will you contact them, Drew, and?
Yeah, I'll have Kathy make sure that they give her a definite, you know, that they will be here.
well,
And that will be on the 15th meeting, and it
and
shouldn't
also-
take too
And then
long.
also provide those other two things before that
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, they need to address, I'm gonna tell them they need
Right.
to address those, and
I would say they need to
Mhm.
address them, and I would maybe give her a heads up to say, hey, we're expecting to see pictures that this wall's up. So if it's not, they should probably get it put up quick.
and also give them a insight that they need to tell us when that commercial is gonna be done as well, so.
Hey, Drew, I noticed
They did
also for
receive-
that one, I think the
I'm
drop,
out.
Hold on one second. Kathy, are you trying to say something?
Yes, they did receive an email in regards to the meeting tonight.
We always notice everybody that they're on with the email provided, so, but we'll try to make a phone call, talk personally to them and give them that chance.
yeah, so the drop off and pickup schedule is going to be really important for this one because this street is also very narrow and there's no room to really turn around anywhere. And they have some construction going on along that street. So I don't know if, do you guys require like the traffic flow, whether they're going to drive in through Desert Flower, going into Desert Saguaro and then exiting out the other street only that way, or going the other way, or allow them go. the
Yeah,
other-
I think the only thing that would be acceptable is to do a, you know, one way through, you know, that's, it's not a one-way street, but recommend that their thing is, you know, be the one. And I think it would be best to come in where you could drop the kids off on that inside door closest to the house, you know,
Yeah.
even though, so they'll pull over, but everything should be going that direction,
Yeah.
you know, and then exit out the same way.
Yeah, I
Because we don't
don't-
want anybody backing out into the street. So
also,
in
I
this
don't-
case, so.
I don't see how they can house 16 children in that house.
Well, the thing about this, you may not be aware, I'll just give you insight. Probably 2/3 to 75% of all the kids are in the neighborhood
Yeah.
It's walking, it's
that's what
family.
I thought.
is
Okay.
what this one is. So
Oh, are they?
they're all cousins and everything that while they all go to work, they get watched at this
Okay.
particular house. So,
Okay.
so that took a little bit of the ease out with me, knowing that most of them are just going to be walking to and from, you know, within the neighborhoods, not much driving probably. So
But that's also why we were so adamant about the fence, because they had a house under construction like
Right
3
next
feet
door.
away from where these kids were playing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's a safety.
So well, I just recommend, that's up to you good folks if you don't
Fine.
want to do that, but
That's,
that's what,
that's in Desert Flower, right?
yes.
Okay, because I mean, I was just up there an hour and a half ago. And that it's almost completely built out. So I'd be
Yep.
kind of surprised if they don't have the block walls done. Yeah.
do we table it and put any conditions like that, or you'll just take care of talking to them and say, hey, we need these items?
We'll do that. Kathy's been listening and she'll make that phone call and just say, hey, here's the things you're going to have to make sure you better bring with you, you know, so, because this is what's going to be asked.
This is Commissioner Musso. I make a motion that we table the request for a conditional use permit C-21-01 for the daycare located at 143 South Desert Seguro Lane. And the applicant is Rose Jessup until September 15th.
Commissioner Anderson, I second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Musso to table this until September 15th and a second by Commissioner Anderson. Individual voting, Musso,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Bullock,
Aye.
Tupo,
Aye.
and this is Sheila. I'm an aye also. We we want to make note that item 7A.
Chairman, if you'll just call item 7A. And then we'll ask the commission to just, do we want to have the commission take action on pulling that, Drew, or how do you want them to word it?
Well, if they pull it, they won't need to make action. I'm going to bring this up so it's on TV and on the record, but just to make note that the applicant has withdrawn the request on this application. So I think that's really all we need to
Yeah.
do, but because it was tabled, but now I'm just as staff letting you know and pulling it up on the screen. The item application has been pulled by the applicant, no longer under consideration. At the present time, it will most likely be reapplied for at a future date.
Okay.
I mean, I just don't want people to think it's done. They're not doing it. It's just that right now they have a lot of other things going on. So they've decided just to pull this out, work on these other things that are a little farther along, come back at a future date on this because they have some things they need to work out with the fire chief and myself, and we'll work over those within the coming months. So, but as of right now, they've pulled their application, so it's gone.
So item 7A is off of the table tonight, and it will possibly come back in a future date. The applicant has pulled the application.
And if I may just add on to that, noticing will go back out like it originally did. So everybody will, that got one, it'll be the same list maybe, or if it changed, we'll add to that, whatever that may be at that time. But the whole process will start over. Noticing will start again and all that. So.
Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to talk about item 8A, which is Planning Commission training, which because there are a number of people not here tonight, we're looking for a motion to table that until another date.
We'll table it without a date certain at this point. This is my agenda item. The public is not entitled to participate. It's mostly training for the commissioners. So we'll just monitor your agendas, and if it looks like we've got a night that has time for it, we'll put it on there and hope that we get the full slate of commissioners.
Yeah, because the 15th is not the
Right,
night
that's
to
a
do it.
busy one.
Our agenda next 2 weeks from now is pretty.
Yeah, as you can see,
Pretty
tonight's
loaded,
agenda
so.
was favorable to training, but we did want, Commissioner Hanson to be present as well. And so we'll just find the next available agenda that makes sense.
So I'm looking for a motion to table this.
Commissioner Anderson, I make a motion to table the commissioner training until a later date.
This is Musso, I second.
So I have a motion to table this by Commissioner Anderson, a second by Musso. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And I look for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
It's Commissioner Musso, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hip, hip, hooray.